Ready? Okay, as now we have the cars lining up for the first race of Season 2 of HIFL. We have pit lane starters already going in. We have people lining up as this will be a fast getaway. We are gonna make sure it's a perfect race. Pumpkin, the Mercedes man, line up on pole. Then we've got Senna in P2, 3, and then we've got Mitch, the McLaren, coming up very slowly into his P2 slot. We have some pit lane runners, and it's a pretty packed race. So we've got AlphaTauri in the pit. We've got Pumpkin P1, Mitch P2, P3 Senna, P4 Pikachu, P5 Outguard. They're the top 5 for today's season opener, as it is yellow flag, green flag, as lights out and away we go for the first race of HIFL Season 2. Pumpkin with a good getaway, as now all the cars are packed together. Aiken, the pit lane starter, going, as it looks like Outguard's got a terrific start with Senna also in P1, P2, I believe. Pumpkin P3, so laggy at the moment, as Senna's P2. Outguard looks as if he's P1. No, Pumpkin P1. Senna P2. Less than a tenth behind. Outguard P3. Mitch P4. Pikachu P5. 6 Dommy. 7 Dambo. 8 Rozzy. 9 Aero. 10 Dark. 11 Angry. 12 RJ. 13 Nicky. 14 Blue. And 15 Aiken. Who's going to win the season opener? And will they face the curse? The well-known curse. As Pumpkin's now in P5. He won't be happy about this. Pikachu's just ahead with Senna P3, Outguard, and Mitch going nearly side by side for the first 2 positions. This is McLaren teammates wanting the victory today. Will there be any team orders? That's the question. As it's now Outguard who now takes the lead of the season opener. Mitch just behind. Senna 3 tenths back. Then Pumpkin out of DRS range for when DRS will be activated. But then Pikachu just behind. Pikachu and Pumpkin at the moment seem to be pretty level. So will Pumpkin's pace rise or will it just decrease? His 1 lap pace is promising, but right now Outguard's in the lead. Mitch following on just behind. Senna P3, P4. So it's a 1-2 for McLaren. Then it's a P3 and 4 for Mercedes with a Aston Martin with P5. The team that's changed team principles so often, and finally they're going to get a good stash of points in the first race. Pumpkin going wide, Tad using all the curb, as Outguard is leading just by a tenth. It's so close. So close. As Mitch is just behind. I wonder who has more ERS, because that's what's going to count. And whose tyre wear is going to be worse. We've got the debutant of Blue in last position with Angry. In P14, the Alpine driver, with an Aiken, the AlphaTauri driver in P13, Nicky, P12, Dark, another debutant, is in P11 with RJ, P10, Aero, has the Ferrari reserve, first race as well, in P9, he's going to get points on his debut, with Rozzy, the Haas driver, in P8, Dommy, P7, Dambo, P6. He's on for a good result today, 3 seconds behind Pikachu. Outguard, 2 tenths in front of Mitch. It's going to be so close. Between Outguard and Mitch, it might go down to strategy. We know that Mitch is on mediums and also Outguard's on mediums. So all to play for the so far. Senna now 2 seconds behind the front two. McLaren are just bolting away. Senna closing the gap to 8 tenths now, with Pumpkin 2.3 behind. But then Pikachu trailing Pumpkin by a second. It's all quite close. And then P6 to P15 is all quite spread out. But P7, P8, P9 are the close ones at the moment. As it is now Mitch in the lead with a 3/10 gap. He might be pulling the trigger. Will Outguard be able to respond? That's the question. As they're breaking down into first corner. The two teammates, although they work together so the Mercedes duo can't catch up. McLaren versus Mercedes. Wow, this could be the story for season 2 of HIFL rather than Fail Race and Mercedes. Wow. P5 for Pikachu, the Aston Martin driver, who's now team principal's now Xander. Wow, who would have thought that as well? As it's Senna going green in first sector. He has some pace. He's on the hard compound tyres. So this is why Mitch and Outguard, the McLaren duo, they're both going for a similar strap defo, the McLarens. But then Senna's on hards, Pumpkin's on mediums, Pikachu's on hards, Dambo's on mediums, Dommy's on mediums, Rozzie's on hards, Aero's on medium, Dark medium, Aiken medium, Nikki medium, RJ medium, Angry softs, Angry with a complete different strategy, and then Blue mediums. So you got a big selection of medium runners, and then you got a couple of hard runners. Usually the way to go is to avoid hards, but Senna's making it work. As the leaderboard slightly glitched for me at the moment. But on track, it is Outguard in the lead, with then Senna just behind. Are the mediums already fading? As they're now coming into the Sector 1, Sector 2 intercourse section. As who's going to be in front? As it's Outguard, with then Senna 5 tenths behind, with Mitch dropping to P3. It's all so close though. You can't really tell who's going to win this race for the time being. Pikachu 5 seconds back and is P5, so it's all quite close in the top 5. P6 to P15, there's more of 2 second gaps to a second to 5 seconds, then 12 to 11. But the top 5 are so closely matched for the time being. But we just know that because of the compounds, Senna will have more pace once the mediums start fading. It's all about strategy at Qatar and DRS trains. Right. As on track, we've got in P6 Domi with Rozzy just behind. They might soon have a battle. Quite fairly matched in pace. They were quite similar in 1 lap pace. So they might have a good scrap. As the seconds now, the difference is now 7 tenths of a second. So Rozzy, he is in a good amount of slipstream. As Outguard, the man in McLaren who went to McLaren, same with his teammate, complete new lineup by the team principal Fenris. He made that call. And also Mercedes with a different lineup, as now it's Senna in the hard in P4 battling Pikachu. So Senna definitely is getting affected by some sort of bumps at the moment. Dommy's 5 seconds behind, so who knows, if these two keep scrapping, Dommy might be in contention for some serious points. But wow, front two, 5/10 difference. This is just ridiculous. They're so closely matched. Who's going to win out the McLaren pair? As Pumpkins lost his front wing. Yeah, Pumpkins lost his front wing. That's going to be painful for Pumpkin. He had good one-lap pace, but just in the race, it's not working out. He's going to have to pit as he comes in, faces a bump. He needs to stay composed, go out, change tyres, and he's going to have to make some sort of different strategy work. He's now pitting for hard compound tyres. He's going to go long. As Nicky, he has to reset his car. The Alfa Romeo driver has reset. He crashed. He flipped over. Yeah. As now you've got Outguard controlling the pace. But Mitch getting a bit slidey through there, so he's losing time. But then Outguard goes wide. So the track's definitely getting more bumpy. As now it's going to be close, heading into sector 3. Mitch takes the lead by a tenth. But these guys are both battling bumps. As now Pikachu's in P3 with a 5-second gap. Senna P4 with 6.7. He's lost 6 seconds in 3 laps. Are the hard compound tyres not working out? The tyre that's usually avoided by drivers around here. As Mitch still in the lead, Outguard in the slipstream. Pikachu 6.6, he lost 1.6 seconds, so the slipstream might be working out for the top 2. They're working together, the teammate. As Mitch gets a track limit at the last corner, so that's his first warning. The FIA are on point today. They aren't playing around. Any slight infringement, they're gonna give you a warning. As Mitch is still in the lead with a 3/10 gap. These guys are literally even for the time being. As you've got RJ in the pit. He's now pitting. Does the Williams driver, will he get overtaken by Blue, the Aston Martin driver, who's approaching the last corner? RJ coming out the pits, medium compound. He is now hunting for small amount of points, but who knows, there might be a safety car. Pumpkin's now in P8. He's in P8 on track. Leaderboard says he's P9, but that's wrong. He's in P8. He goes off. He's on the hards. Also, the tyre that's not clearly working because Senna has lost a lot of time to the front too. As Mitch is in the lead with 3/10 difference to Outguard. Outguard's just staying behind, might be just saving ERS as well as Mitch, or they might battle. There seems to be no team orders at McLaren. As Mercedes are P3 and P8, Dambo's in the pit. So is Aiken. They're both in the pit. Aiken and Dambo, what are they going to pit for? Dambo's gone for the hard. Aiken's gone for the hard. They're out of the pits. Now, on the pit exit, so far it's been really clean by all drivers. Not many limits have been handed out. Any warnings? Oh wow, Mitch and Outguard, the front two, they're so close. Literally a tenth separating them. Whoever's... Wow. The Season 1 champion and Outguard, who slightly underperformed in Season 1, they're now teammates in McLaren for Season 2. Strong lineup, a good call from the team principal. As Mitch and Outguard, they're literally equal. They're equal when they hit the line. I've never seen this ever. Senna 7 seconds back from P3. It just tells you how the mediums are working and how the McLaren duo are just working together. They're literally even on pace. As now we've got in P7, we've got the Mercedes of Pumpkin chasing down Domi in P6. It looks like Pumpkin's not going to get a podium, unfortunately, unless there's a safety car. The man with such good one lap pace just isn't really having a good race. As we've got Dark in the pits, in the Aston Martin, as he goes for the hard compound. RJ in P12 set to green in Sector 2, so he has found some pace and is going to hunt down Aiken in who's P11, with Dark second in front of Aiken in P10. It's all so close in the lower point positions, as now Outguard's got 8th gap, it says on the leaderboard, to Mitch. We're now in the last corner, deploying ERS to go to the line, and the gap is now going to be close. It is 4/10, 12 laps on mediums. So they could pit again for mediums and then softs, because you have to use 2 compounds, or they'll just have to go for hards and one goes for medium soft. It just depends on strategy and ERS. So far, it looks like Outguard has a good amount of ERS. He's using it quite sparely. He isn't scared. As Pikachu P3 for Aston Martin, 8.5 seconds behind the McLaren duo. Senna P4. He is second behind Pikachu. It's lap 12 and the hards aren't working still. Aeropine has pitted, yes. He's gone for the hards. So all the midfield runners are pitting for hards. That's the way to go. From the mediums to the hards. But who knows what the top 2 are going to do. They might go from medium to soft. They might go from medium to hard. They're really stretching these tyres out. They're going to feel horrible. As we've got Mitch. Mitch is in the lead. As they're now in the last corner. Approaching the line for lap 13. Unlucky for some. Outguards now on the slipstream. They're deploying ERS down the main straight. 8.6 behind is Pikachu with Senna. Just behind Pikachu. Wow. And then Haas, P5, with Rossi putting in some effort. As then RJ's gone off. RJ is out. RJ is out. As he resets his car, his race over, no points. Williams already on the back foot in the Constructors' Championship. So we've had two retirements so far in the season opener, which isn't great, as we've got Dart, the Aston Martin driver, hunting down Aero in P10. He sets green in Sector 2. It's all quite close. And then you've got Dambo and Aiken, 6 seconds separating them. And then Rossi in P5 with Domi 3 seconds behind. That's close. As Pikachu 6/10 behind Senna now. Senna's hards might be started to warm up, hopefully, as this is not what we would have expected. As now Outguard's 8/10 behind Mitch. Does Mitch have better tyre wear, or does Outguard just not have as much ERS? 14 laps on medium so far at Qatar, which is known for tyre wear issues. As we thought, Pumpkin, Domi's pitted. Domi has pitted, so Pumpkin will then slide into P6 on track. As then dummies pit for the hard compound tyres. As it's now a second gap at the front, Outguard has lost time in the first sector. Mitch stretching his legs now. He might be pushing because he's going to pit this lap. Who knows? As Outguard's going to be trying to hunt him down. As Outguard closes the gap by half a second. Outguard has a response. Mitch trying to run away with the lead. As Pikachu and Senna so close in track. As Pikachu's throw on the Mercedes driver, making his first race as a full-time Mercedes driver. As McLaren drivers are still both out, nearly halfway in the race. So they're really stretching these medium tyres. I feel like Mitch is going to control when they pit, but the gap's now 2 seconds. Outguard's going to be sweating a bit more than he was just a lap ago. Senna and Pikachu so close on track as we're going to go and watch this because they might have a battle. And they're so close reaching the sector. So it is Pikachu on the hards and Senna on the hards. So the way to go was mediums, but Outguard's now fallen back. His pace has sort of evaporated. The gap's now 2.6 and now it's 3.8. He's lost 1.2 seconds in the middle sector. Maybe it's time to pit for Outguard. What will he do? As Mitch just seems like he's comfortable with the tyres. He looks like he's set for the win. But it's HIFL, anything can happen. As Mitch stays out, so will Outguard box. Outguard's going into the pits. He's going to pit from these 16-lap-old mediums. Wow. So he's pulled the pin. Yeah, also Senna's pitted from the hards. The hards didn't quite work out for the Mercedes driver as he now goes for the mediums. Outguard, slightly slow stop from him. He goes for hards. So he might be trying to go to the end. Considering Senna only did 15 laps on hards, Outguard's going to have to do 16 laps on hards, 17 laps on hards. So he's going to have to really save his tyres. But it's gone for undercut on his teammate. Mitch is going to be losing time. His tyres are dead. This might have been a bad call for Mitch because it looks like he's going really wide, struggling to find the traction, as the gap between him and Pikachu for the time being is 9.8. But let's see, Pikachu on hard, so he should have better tyre wear now. Let's see if he can close the gap. He does. He finds a second. Mitch is losing a second. He can't afford to lose this much time. Outguard on the leaderboard said 24 seconds behind. He's going to be finding the time. But he went for the undercut. His tyres will be worse at the end. Senna, the Mercedes driver, is just a second behind Outguard and is on the faster compound as Mitch does pit. As it's Chris, he says his monitor died. But it's carrying on, it looks like. So it's definitely. It says 20 seconds. Hang on, there's a fast driver. Rozzie's in front of Mitch. Wow. Hang on, what's happened here? I knew this race was all about strategy, and it looks like it has been that way so far now. As it's Pikachu, the Aston Martin P1, yet to pit. Rozzie P2, 8.2 seconds behind in the Haas, who hasn't pit as well. And then Mitch, now 3 seconds in front of Outguard. And Outguard went for an undercut, and clearly it hasn't worked. He's going to struggle big time. As the gap between Senna and Outguard on tracks just under a second. So Senna's getting to work on these mediums. He's going to have to somehow stretch the life out of them, or he's going to pit for softs at the end. It depends. With Pumpkin 13 seconds behind Senna, he could afford to... No, he can't afford to pit. But then Pumpkin did pit earlier because he lost the front wing, so his tyres won't make it. As Angry, who's in P13, says on team radio, is honestly embarrassing. He's 200 seconds behind the race leader, so then he just reset. He reset. He called it. He just said, no, I'm not racing anymore. As then it's 12 people in the race. P13, P14, P15, all out. Nicky, RJ, Angry, all out. So now it's Blue, Dolphin, the man making his debut. In P12. Dark, who's also making his debut. P11. Aero also making his debut. P10. So we have 3 debutants in 3 in a row. The gap between them is from 100 seconds, so it's a big span. As now Mitch has got past Rozzy for P2. Pikachu yet to pit. Pikachu's making a strategy work, so he could pit and then he'll just do 14 laps on mediums, which is definitely doable. Shown by Mitch and Outguard, who made 15 laps. So Pikachu is looking in good contention, but then he needs to remember he'll lose roughly 17 seconds because of pit, and then Mitch is only 5 seconds behind, so he'll lose 22 seconds, dropping him to P5. So he'll slot in behind Senna and in front of Domi in the Red Bull. So he does pit. As he does pit for mediums, he's going to make it to the end. Aston Martin driver, fairly experienced in HIFL, who has done a season, as now Mitch does inherit the lead. Outguard 2.5 seconds behind, with then Rozzy just behind the McLaren. So Rozzy hasn't pit, I don't think, because he's now been swallowed up. He's now been overtaken by Senna and Outguard in the space of a sector. And he does go wide. So he's struggling with traction, indicating he's still not pit. He's done 19 laps on hard tyres. As then Pikachu does go into P5. He's 15 seconds behind. With then Dominic 8 seconds behind, with them Pumpkin and P7, the Mercedes man, setting constant green sectors. He has the pace, but he just pushed it a bit where he then lost a wing. And then we've got Blue, the Aston Martin driver, in P12 pitting from mediums to hards. He's out of contention for points, but he's optimistic. Anything can happen. Safety cars can happen. We'll find out. But right now, it is a 1-2 for McLaren. And then P3 for Mercedes and P7 for Mercedes. With then Rozzy, Haas driver, who does box 4 mediums, 12 laps. He can do this as well. So he's going to the end. As he does get overtaken by Domi. But Domi's on hard, also he pit before, so Rozzy will be able to re-overtake. And then Pumpkin's 10 seconds back, so just him losing a wing, he probably lost 10 seconds in the sector. There we go, so that really did hamper his race. As Mitch setting greens, he's setting greens on hard compound tyres. The tyre compound that's usually told to be a void around here. As the gap's now 2.9, he's just stretching his legs, he's passing Outguard. as it's Senna, track limits in Sector 1. He's pushing his car. He went slightly over, penalty. He got a warning. He makes it 2 more, he will have a penalty coming his way, and that will hamper his race. Probably not so much he falls to P4, but enough to make sure he doesn't get like P1 or 2, if he can get it. Because right now, he is 1.7 behind Outguard, and he has Pikachu keeping him company. No, as that's his teammate, Blue, who gets lapped by Pikachu. And then Dark Crest, Aston Martin slightly holding up the front runners. No FIA picked up the blue flag for him. But it is Mitch, 3.2 second gap. The man making his first McLaren appearance. Oh, he does suffer from a lot of bumps there. Outguard, does he get as many bumps? No. Outguard's going to gain time. He should. As he does. He's now just under 3 second gap. Senna 1.3 second behind, so if Outguard does make a mistake, Senna will be ready to pounce. Right, okay. That's on track for P6 and P5. Rossi does get P5, he overtakes Domi in Sector 2. Bold move from the Haas driver, who has some pace. He set a 127 in quali. He has strong pace, but Mitch, Outguard, Senna, Pikachu all just have that so much more pace where they've gapped Rossi by 27 seconds. Mitch has strong race pace. He is the Season 1 champion. He showed in Season 1, it's not all about qualifying. You can make it up in the race. Quali can be race defining, but you can always make it up. Mitch, very brightly positive, strong mindset. Outguard 3 seconds behind. Outguard is capable of getting victories, but in today's race so far, Mitch looks like he's going to get the win. He just looks so comfortable out there in the Qatari air. As Mitch got track limits in Sector 1, as Dambo is out. He crashed going into the pits, I believe. That's a mistake we just can't afford. As Aero's pit for hard, the Ferrari reserve driver. Dambo, that is such a bad mistake. He's going to be kicking himself. He just probably can't even believe it. As Mitch is just right now swimming. He's just lapped Aero, the man making his debut in Ferrari. He has 10 seconds to Aiken. Aiken is a fast driver. Just today, everyone just has that much more pace. So let's look at what compound each driver's on. Mitch, hard. Outguard, hard. Senna, medium. So he should be able to push, but right now, he's lost time. So maybe he's getting affected by bumps. That's all we can right now think that's what's happening, hampering him. Pikachu 7 seconds behind. So if Senna keeps getting these bumps, he's losing time. He might lose that much time so Pikachu can get P3. Right now, 1-2 for McLaren. P3 and P7 for Mercedes. P4 Pikachu and Dark, his teammate, in P10. So a good amount of points for Aston Martin. Haas, Rossi, P5. As his teammate did not attend, Jaden, but that's because of family problems. That's why he did not attend. He's a fast driver normally. He would be probably in the top 5 easily. He's in that sort of caliber. as the gap between Outguard and Mitch is just 3 seconds, as Aero's in front of Outguard. As now they're going to sector 2. Aero makes way for Outguard, who does lap him. Aero is following FIA control commands. As Mitch, the gap 3.7, Senna's still 10 seconds, so Senna's been consistent with the top 2. Same with Pikachu, 17 seconds. As Pumpkin has the fastest lap, by the way, he has the fastest lap. As Pumpkin has company, Dommy in the Red Bull is just behind by 1.8 seconds. Pumpkin might have to pit again because Pumpkin did pit because he went from hard, now he's mediums. So Pumpkin did make another stop. So considering Pumpkin's made 40 seconds worth of pit stops, he's only 35 seconds behind Mitch. So he would be leading right now by 5 seconds. So Pumpkin would have had the pace to win, but he just had a mistake. And the leaderboard, the drivers are so competitive, you can't afford to make a mistake. And that actually completely hampered your play. Wow, yeah, Dommy's pit for the soft compound, as Flipper does say. So he's going to be gaining so much lap time. He might even get the fastest lap because he has the pace. We know Dommy can set a 127. He's going to be catching up to Pumpkin. Pumpkin, he has pit for medium, so his tyre wear should be okay. He can make it to the end. As Senna's now 16 seconds behind Mitch. Senna has lost 6 seconds. So now Pikachu's just behind Senna on mediums. Senna's on the mediums as well. So it's a fair battle. Aston Martin versus Mercedes for a podium spot. Wow. Mitch and Outguard, the McLaren Joe, today have just been on another level. No team's been able to really, well, at the beginning, they were quite close, but since then they just not had the consistency. As Outguard's gone wide. Outguard went wide. He has lost time. He must have hit a bump. Oh dear. But he's still ahead of Senna and Pikachu by a comfortable gap. So it depends. Has that ruined his rhythm? Oh no. It's now bump fest for Outguard. The gap between him and Mitch is now 9.7 seconds and he got red in the middle. Wow. So the gap between P3 and P2 is now only 8 seconds. And it was 17. So if Outguard keeps getting these bumps, you never know. He could be down in P4 at worst. 5 laps remain. Mitch looks like he's going to be taking the victory. The Season 1 champion, the Flying Dutchman, who went from Bell Race to McLaren without really knowing who his teammate would be. Oh yeah. Pikachu gone for like different strategy. He's now gone for softs. Wow. Okay, and then on track P5 and P6, there's only 3 seconds separating them. So that's quite a close gap. Roddy, the hash driver, can't afford to make a mistake or get bumps in this case. They're both on medium compound. Domi in Red Bull soft compound. He's still yet to make a fastest lap. And speaking about Dom, he's also just got a track limit warning. So he's definitely pushing the car, but sadly it's not working out for him. And to just say that, he's also lost 30 seconds to Pumpkin from that pit stop. And now Pikachu's in P6. The Aston Martin driver can get Pumpkin, who's in P5 because he's on fresh softs, compared to Pumpkin's older mediums. So that's going to be some last lap overtake coming our way. But the gap between Mitch and Outguard has now dropped, so it's now only 2.8. So from a large gap, it's now significantly come down. Is it because AlphaTauri of Aiken's in his way? Apparently, there are no blue flags in HIFL, so he can't be warned. As then it's Dom. No, Pikachu does a green sector 3, the purple sector 2. So you might be getting a fastest lap. And he has some slipstream from the Mercedes driver of Pumpkin. As Pikachu and Pumpkin. Rossi lost his front wing. Oh no, he's gonna get overtaken by Domi in the Red Bull. So that's gonna demote the Haas driver to P7. So he was looking for a P5, but that's gonna also promote Pumpkin. Pumpkin, remember Pumpkin, who lost his front wing, pit, then pit again. He was P7 for most of the race. He's now, because of consistency, is now in P5. He just got overtaken by the Aston Martin driver, but that's because Pikachu just pit with fresh softs. So Pumpkin is on for a solid P5. Good recovery from the Mercedes driver. So that's a P3 and P5 for Mercedes. They're going to be delighted. But right now, McLaren look rather scary. They look like they're just going to dominate each race. Strong lineup. Mitch and Outguard roughly the same pace throughout all of the race, but then Pumpkin's now pit, so he's going to lose roughly 23 seconds, let's say. So he'll come out just in front of Domi. It's going to be close because Domi's on fresh softs, so he can close up. But then Pumpkin's already coming out the pit, so Domi's lost some time, but the gap's probably 7 seconds. So that was a good estimate from the commentator Aggie. As Pikachu's in P4, fresh softs, is now hunting down P3, P2, P1. He's the fastest man so far on track. Hence, he has the fastest lap on these compounds as well. So he's making a late charge on the top runners. This race has been hectic, as then it's the Haas driver Rossi setting a purple in sector 3. As Dart in P10 sets a personal best on lap 29. He went fully green. As Blue in P11 set a green sector 1. And then Rossi sets a green sector 1, so a personal best in sector 1. Can he get a fastest lap? Will he be able to beat Pikachu's lap time? So it's just a battle of fastest laps. From P4 to P7, they're all in contention to get a fastest lap. As it's Rossi now going to sector 3. He goes double green. Is this enough for fastest lap? Pikachu now only 22 seconds behind Mitch. He is gaining, but not enough. The gap between Pikachu and Senna, 11 seconds. Will he get it in 2 laps? Probably not. As the gap between Mitch and Outguard's 4.55, so it's been fairly close, as Senna's now 8 seconds behind the McLaren of Outguard. Pikachu is now P4. Domi and Rosie, P6, P7, 4 seconds separates them. As Pumpkin, he goes purple. He might be trying to get the fastest lap. He may regain the fastest lap, and the fastest lap is 1 point, which is valuable because he's on P5, so that's 10 points. Plus 1, 11 points. He's only lost 15 points from Mitch, so it's not bad, considering he did lose his front wing as well. So he's at such a promising pace. Sadly, probably can't win. He'll probably get P5, but it's a good recovery. Pikachu, 20 seconds behind Mitch now. He is closing the gap to Senna. It's only 9 seconds, but it's too much of a late charge. And now Pumpkin goes purple. He sets the fastest lap. He has some strong, genuine pace. As Mitch and Outguard still have a 4.55 second gap. They've had this sort of gap for so many laps now. They're both so consistent and they're so similar. As Mitch is now approaching a lap. He's about to lap Aston Martin. It might be Blue, who's in P11. This might be second time Blue's been lapped. As Mitch is about to head on to the final lap of the opening race of Season 2. As Mitch, the McLaren man, the Flying Dutchman, the Season 1 champion, will he bottle it? That's the question. Outguard 4.6 behind, so Mitch, he has to get a clean lap in. He has to hold his emotions in, hold the excitement. And Pikachu and Senna, there's only 5 seconds separating them. Senna's either getting bumps, or Pikachu is just turning up the ERS. He's just using it all. Pumpkin just gaining so much time. It's like he's picking off the corn, off the cob. That easy just to get all the time. Astern, Mitch with a 5.3 second gap. Will Mitch bottle? Will Mitch bottle? The man who's so consistent. As right now he's going to take P1 with Outguard and P2. Will Outguard bottle? No, he should be safe. Senna and Pikachu, 4 seconds separates them. Pikachu's going to be close. He sort of gambled with the softs. He tried to go different. And now the gap's 3 seconds. Just another lap perhaps. He could have got a podium. As Aston Martin, as Mitch comes across the line in P1 to get the win at Qatar season opener. The defending champion makes a statement. He's hungry for another championship. Outguard P2 with 4.27 second gap as he leaves immediately. Senna goes P3, 13 seconds behind Mitch. P4 Pikachu, P5 will be Pumpkin. As Aitken comes home in P8, Aero P9, Blue P11 because they were too far to finish. They couldn't finish the 32 laps. As Pumpkin gets P5, the man with so much pace. As Aero was very close to Aitken, 3 seconds, but sadly they were so far they couldn't do all the laps. That was an amazing race, so close. Pumpkin's gonna feel sad. Domi comes home in 6th, 7th Rosie. There's only 1.27 seconds separating them. Wow. As it's going to be Dark who comes in P10 for debut points. So it is Aero Dark who got debut points. Good result from those two, as that is the end of the opening race of season 2. McLaren showing dominance with a 1-2 in Qatar. Will they be able to get another 1-2 in round 2? Maximum points for the constructors for McLaren. P3, 5, Mercedes, they will be P2. And then Pikachu, P4, with good points for Aston Martin. And then the rest looks like it's going to be all unpredictable at the moment. But anyway, that's Qatar. We'll see you next time. HIFL, thank you for watching. Bye.